Hello and welcome to Plus Sports on Plus TV Africa. I am your humble host, Mikhail Tinubu, ready to take you on the journey around the world of sport. Now, there is a story that I want to touch on later. We're going to start from one side of the Atlantic, then return to Europe, where a lot has been going on, and given that it is the international break, whereby most players of the top teams are with their national sides, playing friendly games. But while the likes of England, questions are being raised about Gareth Southgate's tactics, his strategy, his overall long-term future and ability to deliver for England's goal of winning a trophy come this summer at the Euros. There are still stories going on in club football, and we're going to discuss a bit of transfer news because this is the time to do so. Regular season, everyone's busy, and at that point it's just speculation. We don't want to distract from regular season club football, but right now where there's a break, we want to take advantage of it and talk a little bit about what's going on in the transfer window. There's one name that has been plaguing the entire discussion about transfer news for more than a year now, and it's starting to get old, but we're going to dive a little deeper into it. But first, we'll start with the NBA, with Anthony Davis and Lebron James, who starred as the Los Angeles Lakers put in their highest scoring performance in 37 years to hold up the Indiana Pacers. The Lakers won 150 to 145 with 36 points and 16 rebounds from Davis, while James added 26 points and 10 assists. Indiana scored 46 points in the final quarter, but the Lakers hit 10 in the last minute for a third successive win. The Lakers, who start a run of 6 away games on Tuesday, are 9th in the Western Conference, have played 11 matches remaining in the 82-game regular season. The top 8 qualify for the end of season playoffs. The Pacers are 6th in the Eastern Conference and have 10 games to play.
The Pacers. Nemhard, who had that big game winner a couple years ago, on its way and down it goes, being knocked down by Neesmith. Here they come with Siakam, where they made that bold move. Dropped by Hachimura. Dinwiddie coming off of his best offensive game as a Laker with 11. He goes down the middle with 2 hands and a slam. Nemhard from Gonzaga, his brother, is the point guard on this team that is going to the Sweet 16, and LeBron knocks down a 3. Repost to AD, alone on the island, spinning on Siakam, no chance. Reverse layup is good and 1.
Siakam says, come on now.
Nemhard in and out, back in again. AD goes to Joe, blows right past him. Spencer Dinwiddie. LeBron all the way, laying up and in. Easy does it for the King. Up ahead for Christie. When he shoots the 3, he's been very good at it. And here he is, firing it up and in.
Right on cue, Willie.
Obi Toppin trying to direct some traffic, then shoots the 3 and knocks it down, and he goes down himself. Obi Toppin for a triple. That's good work by Toppin now. Gonna try another 3 and nothing but net. That one knocked down by Neesmith.
All of a sudden, the Laker 1-point lead is gone. They're down 8.
Rui, boy, talk about good shooting. Hachimura's numbers are out of sight. Oh, Austin goes all the way. Count it! Austin gets an and 1. LeBron bounce, Reeves, drive, kick, Rui, corner, beautifully done. LeBron surveys as he looks up and goes across the timeline, looking for the rim. He throws it up, a circus shot with the left hand. It's taken by Reeves. LeBron's underneath, and he's blocked that time by Neesmith. Here comes Austin, interior pass to LeBron. Back and forth goes LeBron, to the rim goes LeBron, scoring LeBron. There's McDermott, you got that great bench unit on right now for the Pacers, and McConnell hits a 3.
LeBron just invited him to shoot that.
TP on the behind the back from Braun. Stan in it, and here goes AD all the way and scores. Got Malley, they'll take that no matter what.
Timeout Indiana.
Nemhard all the way, pretty much a concession bucket. but it brings it to 2 possessions.
Wow, mix up defensively.
And he's got it.
Mix up defensively.
Are
I
they
don't know
going to
what
keep
the
playing
Lakers
this
are
game?
doing.
Halliburton, they've got to shoot a 3. They do. And he hits it.
I just don't understand the Lakers defensively.
Demhart.
Switch.
Here's Halliburton.
Oh my goodness.
Long distance.
Oh
Got
my
it
goodness.
again.
I just don't understand.
Tyrese Halliburton. And they throw it away. The Lakers are going to win. Lakers win.
Apologies there. The Lakers have 11 games to go in the season, 9th in the table, but they have to be in the top 8 in order to qualify for the NBA playoffs. And the Lakers haven't been having the best of time in the last couple of seasons. Right now, they sit on 39 wins with 32 losses. Not a very good record, especially for franchises big and is traditionally known for winning and competing in the playoffs as the Lakers. Lebron James, in recent times, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but in recent times, the conversation regarding LeBron James' legacy has revolved around whether he is the greatest. He has the numbers to back it up. One of the highest points career in the history of the NBA. The man is a phenomenal athlete. But there have been people who seem to have forgotten the Black Mamba, placing LeBron James even ahead of Michael Jordan. Certainly, Scott Pippen is of the opinion that LeBron James is better than his old teammate. But if you are aware at all about what's been going on since back in the day, regarding the relationship between Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan, you know, Scottie isn't a big fan of Jordan. And but this is not the show for all of those rumors and innuendos about their personal lives. Instead, in terms of the basketball, while LeBron James does have the numbers, he does also have a lot of failures in the NBA playoffs finals. If he doesn't get the Lakers all the way to the playoffs this time around, a question will be asked. I think many will just use that as another stick to beat him in the debate about who's the best, who's the greatest of them all. For most of us who grew up in the 90s, there's no debating Michael Jordan is the greatest to ever play it. The era was different to this current era that LeBron James is currently playing his twilight years in the NBA. Certainly, there doesn't seem to be a lot of players in the game right now that speak to you as the next great talent, the one who will have us discussing them as the very best in the future. Obviously, Steph Curry is perhaps the greatest three-point shooter of them all, of all time, but is he the very best overall player? Some are even arguing that he is the best point guard, pound for pound, going up against the likes of Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. But LeBron James has had his fair share of playing in the point guard position. And if you certainly remember his time at Miami Heat, he was the chief creative force behind that team. Certainly, he was assisted by Bosh, by Wade, by Ray Allen, plenty of talent in that Miami team. But the question about how far LeBron James could go, how good is he? How big of an impact does he have on his team? Certainly when he went back to, I forget right now, sorry. Certainly in his career, he has had a lot of time to showcase the ability to dominate for the rest of the team. But when he went back to Cleveland, the demonstration of his prowess was at its all-time height. He had the desire to bring the trophy back to Cleveland, the first time in decades, and he did it. And the team was built around him, and he pretty much did everything for the team. He blocked, he stole, he had the triple-double games. But is he the best? I think that debate is always obviously going to be subjective. But if this LA Lakers team which seems like they will be his final destination in his career. If they fail consistently to qualify for the playoffs this season, looking like they might, there's still some time, but the Lakers are behind the Kings. They are behind. They are behind the Mavericks. They are behind the Suns, the Pelicans, Clippers. Nuggets sit at the top, followed by the Thunder, the OKC, as well as Timberwolves, rounding up the top three. And even the Warriors are in 10th position. So it's not going very well for Curry and his team. But like I said, 11 games to go, 6 games on the road. There's time for the Lakers to turn things around. They will need James to be fit. They will need all of his very best ability, as much as he can muster at his old age, because he's no spring chicken. He is not, I wouldn't say Lebron is at the peak of his powers anymore. We saw in the last couple of seasons the rampant injuries he has picked up have limited his playing time and his effectiveness for the team. But who knows? He might do what kings do. He might pull a rabbit out of a hat. He might go to war in the last 11 games and conquer just like kings do. Now, this is March, and it's still Women's Month. And it goes to, this next story, it goes to the heart of what women can do in sport. I'm speaking, of course, of the Barclay Marathon, which British runner Jasmine Paris has made history on Friday by becoming the first woman to complete the grueling Barclay Marathon. Hello and welcome back. Apologies for the impromptu break there. Now, like I was saying, British runner Jasmine Paris made history on Friday by becoming the first woman to complete the grueling Barclay Marathon in Morgan County, Tennessee. Runners have 60 hours to complete what is arguably among the world's hardest foot races at 100 miles, that is 160 kilometers, or 520-mile loops around Tennessee's Frozen Head State Park. Covered in scratches and exhausted, Paris very nearly fell to her knees as she crossed the finish line, sealing her historic achievement in 59 hours, 58 minutes, and 21 seconds. It was a remarkable feat from the 40-year-old. Paris joined an elite group of runners as she became one of the 20 runners in the race's history to complete the race. The Barclay Marathon officially begins when the race director lights a cigarette. Paris became one of 5 runners who finished this year's edition of the Barclay Marathon, with Ukraine's Ihor Veres winning the race. Other finishers this past weekend included American duo John Kelly and Jared Campbell and New Zealander Greg Hamilton. The Barclay Marathon is one of the toughest ultra marathons, with no finishers from 2018 and 2022 and a dropout rate of 99%. Last year, only 3 runners finished the race in 60 hours. Paris, who is a mother of 2 and a veterinarian in Edinburgh, took part in her 3rd Barclay Marathon and stated that the challenge of the race was mind-opening. With her history-making race completed, Paris has reportedly set her sights on the Scottish Islands Peaks race on 17th of May, followed by the Tour de Guiance in Italy in September. Now, like I said, it's Women's Month, March, and Paris there doing herself and pretty much everyone proud. I mean, it's not something that most people do lightly. It's not to be taken lightly. It's like trying to trying to get to the peak of a mountain, which in this instance, you could see that there were hills in the terrain. It's like trying to climb up Mount Everest. Except in this case, of course, it's not as cold, not as long, and it's very nearly possible. It's very nearly possible to do, as opposed to the Mount Everest, which is even more grueling and more unlikely for most people to finish. In fact, people have died climbing Everest. But in this instance, she was exhausted, nearly falling over by the time she got to the end of the race. The race is known for. There's a tagline that the race is known for: the race that eats its own. It's not to be taken lightly, and she did it in 59 hours, 58 minutes, and 21 seconds. Kudos to Paris and to every woman who attempts something as hard that most people can't do. Thank you for the steadfast desire to keep going. Now, the story I said we were going to talk about, revolving the transfer saga that has pretty much plagued and been ever present throughout the conversation about what player is going to what club, what club needs what player. And of course, I'm talking about our very own Victor Osimhen. It seems like he has been linked forever with Chelsea Football Club. There have been stories about him loving Chelsea, admiring Didier Drogba, being a fan of Chelsea Football Club since he was a child, and even a Twitter post revealed that. But now it has come out that Chelsea is reportedly ready to trigger the release clause of Napoli's Victor Osimhen, despite concerns about breaching the English Premier League's profit and sustainability rules. The former Los Lille forward, who joined the Neapolitans for a fee in the region of 75 million euros, could now command a fee of 120 million euros to 130 million euros, as he is impressed during his time in Naples. According to Italian journalist Rudy Galletti, the striker is keen on a move to Stamford Bridge, as reported by a court offside. The addition of Osimhen could provide a significant boost to Chelsea's attacking options, especially considering their recent struggles in front of goal, despite significant investments in the squad last summer. However, there are lingering worries about financial fair play regulations and whether Chelsea will need to offload players before completing a deal for Osimhen. Now, I'm going to get into the weeds of how Chelsea could pull this off. But first, let's talk about what Chelsea needs. A lot of people have argued that the current failure of the Chelsea squad is a lack of experience. They've invested heavily in youth, plenty of potential, talent that is expected to realize all of its promise in a couple of years, with the right manager at the helm to get a team mentality built into the squad. That is what they've been trying to do since they fired Tuchel. It didn't work out with Graham Potter. Many have called for the sacking of Pochettino, who currently still seems like he may have at least some support within the upper echelons of the club. However, there have also been stories about the possibility of him being replaced. Possible options in the summer, one of them including Brighton manager De Zerbi. And even Thomas Tuchel has reportedly come out and said he would be very interested in returning to England, particularly to Chelsea. He wants the Premier League return. He fancies the league. And question remains whether the owners would take him back. There have been suggestions that something went down behind the scenes between Todd Bowley and Tuchel. It hasn't been revealed. It seems it might have been of a personal nature. If he were to come back, the owners would have a lot of gratitude from Tuchel for not releasing or revealing everything that went on behind the scenes. But while the club have made certain transfer mistakes in recent years, most people agree that Victor Osimhen would be a proper proper striker to solve their number 9 problem that has pretty much plagued them since the very end of Didier Drogba's reign at the Bridge. Victor Osimhen has a lot of power, a lot of pace, in a lot of ways, he is very Didier Drogba-esque. So, is he the answer to their problems? Well, we'll see. First, they have to get him. And how can they get him? Well, to address these concerns, Chelsea will need to carefully manage their financial position. The club obviously is expected to publish their accounts in the summer. Now, the accounts for the 2022-2023 season, which is expected to be published very soon, with estimates suggesting they will fall below the profit and sustainability threshold by £37 million. Now, the club have said they are not worried about that. While this indicates some financial stability, there are also potential challenges ahead, particularly in the 2023-2024 season. Therefore, Chelsea transfer activity leading up to the end of the financial year in June may be influenced by their ability to generate revenue through player sales. Conor Gallagher has been frequently linked with a move away from Stamford Bridge, with clubs like Tottenham Hotspur reportedly interested, and a transfer fee of up to £50 million being mentioned. That is what Chelsea want, but is that what they will get? Tottenham have reportedly been willing to pay anywhere between 30 and 40 million pounds. Now, selling academy graduates like Gallagher can significantly improve Chelsea's finances, as these players have no transfer cost, resulting in pure profit for the club. That is, all the money they get comes into the club, fills the books, and none of it will be counted as part of an expenditure that was spent in the at a point of purchase, unlike the likes of Sterling, who were bought for upwards of £40 million, and if they were to be sold right now, even for £50 million, the basic profit would be somewhere around £2 million, which is not very good. But that's where academy graduates come in. That's why there was such an appetite to sell Mason Mount last summer. Now, in addition to Gallagher, Chelsea may need to part ways with 2 to 3 more players to secure the signing of Osimhen without jeopardizing their financial stability. Now, as I have said, financial sustainability is clipping at their heels. And if they could get this done, it would be an answer to their problem, to all of their problems. But here's the problem, and this is where a lot of people think, even if they don't get into trouble this summer, and I will come back to this summer, they will likely get in trouble next summer because they have to keep posting the results of their financial records. First of all, for the future, even if they scale through this summer, there is the fact that right now their current front of jersey sponsor, Infinite Athletic, is a 1-year deal. It will end during the summer. So they are currently working on getting a new deal. Now, there have been rumors about Jordan, that is right, Nike's Jordan, being interested in sponsoring Chelsea Football Club. In fact, specifically, they are interested in sponsoring a London-based club that currently needs sponsorship. So Tottenham is also on the radar. Chelsea Football Club is the preferred move because they are regarded as a bigger London club than Tottenham Hotspur. Any such deal would allow for them to bring in £40 million minimum per season. They would probably try to negotiate for a little higher than that. And all of that money would definitely help in bringing Victor Osimhen to the club. A lifelong Chelsea fan who definitely seems like he's ready to go to Chelsea and nowhere else. Now, even Manchester United are seemingly interested in him. And you might be wondering, after spending about £70 million to bring in Højlund and the boy is starting to hit his stride, why would Manchester United go in for Victor Osimhen? I'll tell you why. The reason is you need a guaranteed goal scorer. You need a first choice option that will start the season strong, and even when he tails off come December, Højlund, who will step in during that period, will only help to provide rest to Victor Osimhen. At which point, come the tail end of the season, the business end of the season, when hopefully they would be competing in Europe and the games would be coming thick and fast, and there would be so many games to spread around, with the FA Cup still possibly an option, Champions League and Premier League race still very much alive. That would be the time for Victor Osimhen or whatever top choice striker they go for to, help them get across the line. That is what the big clubs do. Now, Manchester City don't need that because they have one recognizable striker. The second option is nowadays playing less as a number 9 and more as a number 10 or second striker. But even when Haaland isn't available, the team is able to coordinate itself, even if it has to play with a false 9. That is just how they are set up. But everywhere else in the world, most teams need one solid number 9 and a second choice who is providing either as himself as a backup or as competition for the position, keeping the team's ability to go for titles fresh and hungry. Now, Chelsea would still have plenty of options because even if they buy only Victor Osimhen, don't forget they still have Nicholas Jackson, but they can't pull this off unless they go to Europe. They can't get Jordan to sign a deal with them for £40 million or even more to sponsor their front of shirt, the front of jersey, unless they get to Europe. That is what is being reported. And if that doesn't work out, then they are looking at second choice options like what we're hearing being Riyadh Air. If they were to get Riyadh Air, that would also likely be a good option. It may give them the minimum threshold of £40 million a season, but even then, that still barely covers it without Europe. That is where the sale of the likes of Conor Gallagher comes in. All of the conversations around Trevor Chalobah being potentially sold will continue to rear its head because he is another homegrown player who was trained at the club and would bring in full profit. Same goes with Ian Maatsen, who is currently on loan at Dortmund, and a guaranteed fee of £30 million should they trigger the trigger the release clause. Sorry, £35 million. On the other hand, they also have Lewis Hall currently at loan at Newcastle, and his fee is £30 million guaranteed because the club have already played him enough times for the transfer to be triggered. So those are 4 players trained at Chelsea, and together, when you start to calculate the amount of money, what is being expressed is that Chelsea will need to raise about between 100 and 130 million pounds. By the time all of that is factored in, you start to realize there's a possibility on the basis of just Conor Gallagher, they will raise about 40 million pounds. On Lewis Hall, another 30, making 70. On Ian Maatsen, who is doing fantastically well at Dortmund, he is another 35 million pounds. And even if Dortmund don't trigger the release, he's doing so well that other teams are also looking at him and they're ready to trigger the clause. So that is 105 million pounds plus potentially another 20-30 million pounds for Trevor Chalobah, plus probably another 20 million for Armando Broja, who's currently on loan at Fulham. All of these players are expected to leave in the summer to raise the financial to ease the financial burden on Chelsea and allow them to go ahead and purchase Victor Osimhen. Now, here's the catch. All of this has to be done before June 30th. If they don't do that, they would have to extend the deadline, but there's no guarantee that they would be able to still pass the FFP regulations if they have to extend it. So since all of the reporting has to be done by June 30th, it means all of that money needs to come in before June 30th. So we might have the same scramble to sell players off the way Chelsea did last summer before going back into the market to bring in the likes of Nicholas Jackson and Palmer, who came in at the last hour of the transfer window. So now this might seem feasible because even without a director of football last season, Chelsea were able to pull it off. They were able to sell off players for huge amounts of money. Nobody expected Chelsea to make as much as £60 million for Mason Mount, but they did. And all of this might seem feasible, but here's another catch. Other clubs realize that Chelsea have to make these sales by June 30th, which means they could choose to wait, use that as leverage to negotiate a lower fee. But the risk of that is that they might lose such players to other teams who are willing to come in, step in, maybe from other parts of Europe. Now, England, the English Premier League, obviously is where a lot of money exists. So if Chelsea wants to make their top money for these players, their best bet is to sell to English teams. However, obviously, there are clubs around Europe, the likes of Bayern Munich, who were once upon a time interested in buying Trevor Chalobah, but that was courtesy of Thomas Tuchel, who is leaving at the end of the season. So if he leaves, there's no guarantee that somebody else who takes over from him in the summer would still be interested in Trevor Chalobah, but he is also regarded as a top choice for certain clubs. So if Tottenham doesn't pull the trigger on buying Conor Gallagher, they very well risk losing him before the June 30th deadline. So all of this is to say that there is a chance that Chelsea may not be able to afford Victor Osimhen come the summer. Obviously, in triggering the transfer clause, they would still have to find a way to spread out the payment structure with Napoli. And that is what the owners at Chelsea, Todd Bowley and Clear Lake Capital, have been doing since they got in, spreading out the cost. It's what they did with the Enzo Fernandez deal. It's what they did with the Caicedo deal. And it's why they sometimes end up paying just a little bit above the release clause or the asking price that these clubs are asking for. But there is an option on the table, another striker option who currently plays at Leipzig. I'm talking about Ben Chesko. Chelsea have been interested in him in the past, and there's a release clause of 50 million euros. If they wanted to, they could trigger that option, and they wouldn't have to risk potential financial ruin or even points deduction by spending so much on Victor Osimhen. Don't forget, Chelsea are supposedly still in the market to try to get another player in defense, another centre back, possibly another left back, with the intention to sell off Cucurella. There is rumors that they're thinking about potentially letting Sterling go and bringing in Nico Williams from Athletic Bilbao. He has a 50 million euro release clause. So there are these players that Chelsea want to buy, and if they want to maximize the amount of money that they have to spend, it behooves them to spend on a cheaper option like Sesko. But Victor Osimhen has been the go-to option for Chelsea for about 2 seasons now. And if they fail to get him, well, a question will be raised about Chelsea's financial future if their very long-term target slips out of their grasp. Now, I believe we might have a guest on the line, Benga Boyega. Unfortunately, it seems Benga hasn't been able to join us. But let's take the last story because I think we're running out of time. Chelsea legend Ashley Cole, former England defender, has become the latest player inducted into the Premier League Hall of Fame. Cole, who is currently 43, won the league title 3 times, twice with Arsenal and once with Chelsea. During an illustrious career in England's top flight, he was part of the 2003 to 2004 Arsenal Invincibles team and made 385 Premier League appearances in total. According to him, it's humbling and fulfilling to be rewarded at the end of your career, the Champions League winner said. Now, the former left-back made his Premier League debut in 2000, and his final appearance in the competition came in 2014. He later played for Roma, LA Galaxy, and Derby. Now, Cole becomes the 22nd Premier League Hall of Fame inductee. He contributed to 147 clean sheets during the Premier League career, also scoring 15 goals and providing 31 assists, and was named in the PFA Team of the Year on 4 occasions. Ashley Cole won 7 trophies at his boyhood club Arsenal and was a double winner in the 2001-2002 season. Cole, who won 107 England caps over a 13-year period, was also a 7-time FA Cup winner. He retired from playing in 2019 and has gone into coaching, joining former England striker Wayne Rooney at Birmingham earlier this season and taking a role with the men's England under-21 team. Certainly a worthy inductee into the English Premier League's Hall of Fame. And that's it for us at Plus TV on Plus Sports. It's always a pleasure having you join us. My name, of course, is Mikhail Tinubu. Remember, life is never boring with some sports. Do have a wonderful evening.